What if I told you that every World Cup had been rigged? Would you believe me? Well, join me down this rabbit hole as we uncover the dark history of this tournament and some of the most disgusting displays of poor sportsmanship the sport has ever seen. This is the dark side of the beautiful game. Welcome to the World Cup Diaries. The 1954 World Cup was a pivotal tournament in many ways. For one, it was the first World Cup held in Europe after World War II and the last World Cup organized under the FIFA presidency of Jules Rimet, who'd pass away just 2 years after the tournament, and it would also be the first World Cup to be televised, with it being broadcast across Europe by the Eurovision network. The tournament consisted of 16 teams from 4 different confederations across 6 venues. Switzerland would qualify as hosts and Uruguay as defending champions. Of the remaining 14 spots, 11 were allocated to Europe, 2 to the Americas, and 1 to Asia. Scotland, Turkey, and South Korea made their World Cup debuts. South Korea became the first independent Asian country to participate, and Egypt was the sole representative from Africa, remaining the only country from the continent to appear at the event. Austria returned after a hiatus since 1934, while Hungary and Czechoslovakia re-entered after missing the 1950 tournament. However, teams like Sweden and Spain, who finished 3rd and 4th in 1950, failed to qualify. German teams were also allowed to compete again after being banned from the 1950 World Cup due to World War II. West Germany qualified by defeating Saarland, a tiny French protectorate located within West Germany at the time, while East Germany did not enter following political unrest in 1953. Japan failed to qualify, and Argentina declined participation for the 3rd consecutive time. After a hotly contested tournament, 2 teams remained standing, Hungary and West Germany. It was no surprise that Hungary had made it to the final. The Hungarian national team of the 1950s, known as the Golden Team or Mighty Magyars, was one of the most dominant sides in football history, having gone 4 years undefeated prior to the final. Coached by Gustav Sebes, they revolutionized football with tactical innovations like positional fluidity and a withdrawn centre-forward role, inspiring future concepts such as total football. Their legendary lineup included Ferenc Puskás, the prolific galloping major, with 84 goals in 85 international matches; Sándor Kocsis, nicknamed Golden Head for his scoring prowess; Nándor Hidegkuti, a deep-lying forward who orchestrated attacks; Josef Bozic, a midfield playmaker; Zoltán Csibor, a skillful winger; and Gyula Grosics, the pioneering sweeper keeper known as the Black Panther. Hungary's dominance was underscored by their Olympic gold medal in 1952 and their famous 6-3 victory over England at Wembley in 1953 in a match dubbed the Match of the Century. Their path to the final included triumphs that showcased their brilliance, but also tested their mettle. In the quarterfinals, they faced Brazil in what would become one of the most infamous matches in World Cup history, the Battle of Bern. This match was not only fiercely contested, but also marred by violence both on and off the pitch. Played on June 27, 1954, at Wankdorf Stadium in Switzerland, it saw Hungary prevail 4-2 in a game that featured 3 red cards and numerous physical altercations. The intensity boiled over into fights that continued in the dressing rooms after the final whistle, and the players had to be separated by the police. Brazil, 4 years removed from their humiliation on home soil against Uruguay in the 1950 World Cup final, could not handle another loss at the World Cup, especially with Uruguay waiting in the semi-finals and a chance at revenge waiting. Despite missing their talisman Puskás due to injury, Hungary's Sándor Kocsis stepped up with 2 crucial goals to lead his team to victory. English referee Arthur Ellis later described it as more of a battle than a football match. Hungary's semi-final against Uruguay was another grueling encounter. The Mighty Magyars emerged victorious after extra time with another 4-2 win, further solidifying their reputation as an unstoppable force. By this stage, Hungary had scored an astonishing 27 goals en route to the final. On the other hand, West Germany had no right to make it to the final. West Germany entered the tournament as massive underdogs, with football in Germany severely disrupted by World War II. The German Football Association had been dissolved during the war, and German teams were banned from international competitions until 1950. By the time West Germany rejoined FIFA, their football infrastructure was still recovering. The team consisted largely of semi-professional players who held day jobs alongside playing football. For example, Captain Fritz Walter had survived as a prisoner of war and worked as a banker. Coach Sepp Herberger rebuilt the team from scratch after the war, focusing on teamwork rather than individual brilliance and fostering unity among his players during their stay at Lake Thun in Switzerland, an ethos known as the spirit of Spitz. Despite being thrashed 8-3 by Hungary in the group stage, West Germany bounced back with victories over Turkey, Yugoslavia, and Austria to reach the final. So it came as no surprise when West Germany found themselves 2-0 down after just 8 minutes, courtesy of goals from Puskás and Tibor. The match looked to be headed for a repeat of their group stage encounter that had ended 8-3. But this time would be different. 2 goals in 8 minutes meant the first half would end as a draw, and a late goal from Helmut Rahn in the second half would confirm a shocking victory for the West Germans. It was a one-sided game with Hungary being on the front foot for most of the game, but the West Germans were patient, and against all odds, they defeated Hungary 3-2 after trailing by 2 goals early on. This was a huge upset, and the heroics shown by the underdog West German players led to the game being dubbed the Miracle of Bern. But this miracle came with whispers of controversy. The team's groundsman, Walter Brunnemann, claimed to have found syringes hidden under drainage gates after the match, sparking intense speculation, while the team doctor, Franz Lugan, insisted he had only administered vitamin C, but a University of Leipzig study suggested something far more sinister: Pervitin, a methamphetamine originally developed by Nazi doctors during World War II and nicknamed Panzer Chocolate. This amphetamine, previously used to enhance the stamina of Luftwaffe pilots and Wehrmacht soldiers, might have been secretly injected into the players without their full knowledge. The controversy was further fueled by the fact that doping was not yet illegal in 1954, with FIFA only introducing doping controls in 1966. Adding to the intrigue, several German players developed jaundice after the tournament, and one player, Richard Herrmann, died of cirrhosis just 8 years later at the age of 39. The German Football Association's reluctance to open their archives only deepened the mystery, leaving the true story of the Miracle of Bern forever clouded in speculation. The Hungarian team, particularly Ferenc Puskás, believed the victory was tainted, suggesting a potential Cold War-driven conspiracy to prevent a communist team from winning. Dubious refereeing decisions, such as the disallowed equalizing goal, became the focal point of controversy. Referee William Ling initially appeared to award Puskás' late goal, but after consulting with Welsh linesman Benjamin Griffiths, he ruled it offside, a decision Puskás disputed. Additionally, Germany's second goal came after a suspicious collision between Hungarian goalkeeper Gyula Grosics and a German player in the 6-yard box, which Ling controversially allowed to stand. Some Hungarian supporters suggested this was part of a broader British Cold War conspiracy, with the decision potentially preventing a communist Hungarian team from winning the World Cup. West Germany would be caught using ephedrine and other amphetamines later in the 1966 World Cup final after FIFA introduced doping controls. This time, however, they failed, as England went on to beat them 4-2 in a grueling match that went to extra time. However, this wasn't a case of righteous justice, as England themselves had used some underhanded tactics en route to that final. But that's a story for another day. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more mysteries, controversies, and fascinating stories about the origins of football, be sure to like and subscribe.